Hey all, here OS Reviews. Recently we checked out a couple of budget-oriented point-and-shoot digital cameras, not to mention camcorders even, in 2024, and came to the conclusion that they should really only be considered as novelty items, designed for perhaps kids or as a backup more than something to be taken super seriously, but kind of expected for the price. But today we're taking a look at yet another alternate form that I think might be a little bit more practical. So these are advertised as night vision binoculars. The sensors inside are still quite similar to some of those previous camcorders and budget digital cameras that we've seen, including a 3-inch display, an included memory card, in this case 64 gigabytes, as well as the ability to capture 4K videos and take images as well. So the parts are quite similar, it's just put into a slightly different exterior shell, and this time around the night vision part includes infrared bulbs, similar to on a home security camera, which allows you to see a little bit more easily in the dark. It also has built-in Wi-Fi, so just like some of the camcorders that we checked out previously, you can connect it wirelessly to your smartphone and use your phone as a remote control for also capturing footage if you wanted to mount this onto a tripod, for example. Night vision mode, just like on security cameras, or at least the majority of them, will be in black and white monochrome, so keep that in mind. It is a 3-watt infrared beam. It has a 4,000 milliamp hour capacity rechargeable battery that's guaranteed for around 5 hours of usage if you're using in the infrared mode with the IR bulb on, or 11 hours if you have the IR bulb turned off. The IR bulb, by the way, can also be adjusted in terms of strength so that you can make it dimmer versus brighter based on the distance that you're looking at. And there are built-in diopters that you can adjust to change the focus based on the distance that you're looking at, along with a 10 times digital zoom that you can further apply when you're taking your images or videos. The sensor is technically 42 megapixels if you're taking still images, native 4K, and when it comes to the range of the 3-watt IR beam, it gets up to 300 meters in the furthest distance. In the minimum distance, it covers up to 50 meters, depending again on the strength level. So that's pretty impressive, and it just uses MP4 file format and JPEG for images, as well as the focusing kind of range there, 0.5 meters to infinity. So inside here we have just the actual binoculars along with a strap that you can use to kind of hang it onto your shoulder, for example, a nice little extra accessory. We also get a standard USB Type-C cable for charging and syncing data, good to see, as well as just a microfiber cloth for wiping off the lens, and there's also a small carrying pouch as well that you can use to carry it with you when on the go, and you even get a extra little micro SD card reader to a full-size Type A to plug into your computer for reviewing the footage. There's also just a quick user guide documented in various languages, and also showing us the companion app that we can download. So here's a closer look at the design of the binoculars. It is built out of plastic, so it is a little on the hollow side, but not too bad, I would say. There are some ridges making it a little easier to grip. All the buttons up top, including power, as well as going into some of the mode keys that will switch into the functionality of playback versus video capture versus taking images, as well as capturing a shot and cycling up and down, as well as changing the IR intensity in the night vision mode can be adjusted. There's a built-in speaker and microphone as well, and then on the side there's a flap covering up the aforementioned 64 gigabyte micro SD card that comes included out of the box. We've got the display on the back, which is 3 inches diagonally, and it is an IPS LCD screen, so viewing angles are really not bad. It's also decently bright, so you can make it out even if there's a bit of ambient sunlight, and there's a bit of a shade over here as well, so you can see it a bit more easily when you're using it in the regular day mode, for example. So here's a quick example of what that UI looks like. There's also a couple of holders there for the strap, and then on the back here we do have a standard tripod mount, which is great. So if you are recording video, for example, at night, and you are zooming in up to 10 times with the digital crop, you'll be able to remain locked into place. It's not going to shake as much, and this model has a rechargeable battery, but it looks like the shell is also used to manufacture maybe a different version that takes AA or AAA batteries, but you can tell that these rechargeable cells can also be switched out a little bit more easily there. And there's also the focus dial there as well for the diopters of the lens that you can also see will move slightly in and out. Now up front there is just one lens technically for the actual camera sensor. The other part here is the IR beam that will illuminate and capture when it's in the dark. Returning back into this main UI, right now we are in the video recording mode, the resolution here at 4K. It also tells us the time information in the top right-hand corner, as well as the current magnification range, as well as the battery percentage down below. Now we can tap on the mode key to bring up controls like turning on and off wireless if we want to connect to the companion app, cycle up and down to change the resolution. Loop recording can also be captured similar to on a car dash cam. Got a couple of other profiles here, including the backlight strength of the LCD display, which isn't a touchscreen, by the way. If we tap on the mode key for a couple of seconds here, it will allow us to switch into the picture taking mode. And then similarly, if we tap on it once, we can now change the resolution for taking photos. And if we hold for a couple more seconds, we're also able to switch into the playback one. So you have all of the files stored locally on the memory card here that you can view back or, of course, delete if desired. So quite simple. And by the way, when we are in the video as well as in the photo taking modes, if I then press on the up and down keys, we can change between the daylight versus the night vision mode. So right now it's in the full color, capturing at daylight, but if we increase the IR bulb intensity, you'll see it now switch into the black and white night vision infrared mode. We can also see this more visibly, the infrared bulb, through the lens of the camera. This is actually invisible to the human eye. And aside from changing the intensity of the infrared bulbs, you can long hold for a couple of seconds to activate a digital zoom or crop. Continue to zoom all the way up to 10 times digitally, as you can tell there. And if you're looking at distances which are less than 30 meters, that's when you use the again, wheel on the back there to change the focus strength. Similar also to some telescopes and even microscopes that we've seen in the past. So we can just continue to twist. Right now we're looking at some of the trees outdoors, and now it's becoming a lot more in focus using the adjustable dial there. So that gives us an idea of what this is capable of, and now we can further zoom in, again using the digital crop to get even closer to our subject. And I would say that the minimum focusing distance is around 2 to 3 feet away. So not bad in terms of the range that you're able to achieve using just the focus wheel plus the digital assist. When indoors, the quality really is quite comparable to a smartphone sensor, perhaps on a less expensive mid-range or budget smartphone. It does okay, and you're able to still have sufficient detail. With the 48 megapixels, you can further zoom and crop using your computer, for example, once you offload those images. And here's some of the other kind of sample shots. This is a 10 times crop using the digital versus at the 1 times. This is what it looks like. And there is no HDR or super sophisticated processing though, similar to other budget point-and-shoots and camcorders we've seen previously. So if you are in really difficult lighting conditions that are super dark versus bright in the background, there's not going to be, say, an HDR mode, and you can't really capture in RAW, so editing could be a little bit trickier, but overall, in decent lighting, you can expect some good enough quality results, I would say, for capturing some nature, bird spotting, looking at trees and things really in the distance. And just as a quick reference, this is actually what that same tree looks like at kind of a 1 times range. We are looking at essentially this particular branch over here. But really, aside from the lack of color night vision, which is available on some higher-end security cameras these days, I think the result is actually surprisingly good in the IR mode. Details are still fully visible, in fact producing slightly above average quality, well, aside from micro jitters, as you can tell there, because you do have to hold quite still, especially if you are in the magnified mode. So that's where that tripod will be beneficial if you are really recording footage. As far as the companion app is concerned, you have to go over to your Wi-Fi settings after turning it on with the binoculars and then connect to the Wi-Fi network that is being transmitted by the glasses, aka camera here. And the default password is just 12345678. Afterwards, you can tap on connect, and then jumping into the app, which is called RoadCam, we should be able to then take a look at the live feed after just a split moment. So very similar process as that of a security camera. There will be, of course, a split latency as we are moving it around compared to what we see on screen, but it's honestly not bad. So again, if you have this mounted onto a tripod, for example, if you're bird watching, you're able to then remotely, maybe in the house, still capture the shots and control it. It will be saved into the memory card of the binoculars. And control some of the advanced settings, including the aforementioned loop recording quality of the resolution that we saw there from the actual camera can be adjusted on the app here as well. So afterwards, if we tap on videos, for example, we can look back at the footage. So the app is basic, but still works pretty much as intended. The only thing I don't really like is it it's a little easy to accidentally start recording even if you don't really mean it. It seems like every time that we exit the gallery and go back into that main screen, it starts recording by default. So hopefully that's something that can be turned off or maybe improved on in a future firmware update. But nonetheless, the functionality is, again, working as expected. So it just takes a couple moments to transfer over. We can also, again, download onto our phone's storage. So not bad, I would say. It's a sufficient level of detail as far as just a budget pair of binocular cameras are concerned. Definitely more than usable enough. So that is more or less it as far as a quick hands-on look at these IR night vision smart binoculars. And again, although the components inside are not too different from that of a basic digital camera point-and-shoot / camcorder that we've seen. In this particular instance, I do think it makes a little bit more sense because of the built-in diopters. You're able to more precisely adjust the focus level. It looks reasonably sharp, plus the IR bulb is going to be a feature that is missing on the majority of smartphones that we have in our pockets. So you can actually see in the dark, again, mount it onto a tripod, control it from afar, and can be a nice alternative to a traditional pair of binoculars if you do want to preserve some of those memories. This particular idea is actually not bad at the end of the day. You can check out more details if interested in the links down below. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching Hero OS Reviews. Again, that's just a closer look at a budget pair of smart camera binoculars with night vision.